The next person you're going to hear from is currently a case manager at Childhaven. His role at Childhaven is unique in that it's truly family-centered. Our case managers support the parents and caregivers who face incredible adversity and can use a helping hand that they can trust, Childhaven's hand. The studies and experience have shown that we cannot do our work to heal the effects of trauma in a child until they have a stable home life. Case managers act as liaisons that connect families to community resources, such as other treatment centers, assistance programs, and more. They provide home visits to interact with their families in their environment to help them through any number of challenges they might be experiencing. As children age through our programs, they will have a variety of therapists and teachers. But the case managers, that's where they find their home. They are a constant during their time at Childhaven. So please help me in welcoming Aaron Scarlett to share his experience as a case manager at Childhaven.
Good afternoon, and I just want to say thank you for being here today. I have to admit that last night I ran sprints with my son's soccer team, so my legs are a little sore. It's not from nerves if they buckle, it's because of that. My name is Aaron Scarlett, and I am proud to say that I've worked at Childhaven for the past 19 years. During that time, thank you. During that time, I've gotten to know over 1,500 families who have used our services. Each of these families has been unique. I've had the privilege to learn about their particular hopes, dreams, and challenges. You all know that Childhaven serves a population of families that are among the most marginalized in Washington state. I've entered homes affected by many layers of trauma that have been passed down through several generations. I've supported and advocated for families affected by substance abuse, by domestic violence, by incarceration, by mental illness, by homelessness, and by poverty. And you know what? Visiting those homes and talking to those families, even ones in crisis, is easier than what I'm doing right now, speaking in front of all of you. I'm a little nervous. I'm used to talking to maybe one or two parents or a group of 15, not an audience of 500. I've learned a great deal from the families I've worked with, and I like to take this time to share with some of you, to share with what I've learned with you. When I think about my interactions with Childhaven families, 3 lessons come to mind. The first lesson is, we are all human beings. It sounds so simple, but we often forget we're all human beings. Parents who are battling an issue like substance abuse are human beings. Their substance abuse does not define them. They want all the same things that we want. They want good things for themselves, for their children. Even though they lack the resources, these families do not lack love. All human beings are capable of love. I try to interact with clients on a basic human level as much as possible, withholding all judgment. Still, when I work with women, especially ones who have been victims of domestic violence, my presence can be triggering. I am a male, and being a male in this business in human services is rare. But I also have the ability to become a positive male role model in their lives. I can show families that not all men are the same, that some are gentle and compassionate, and some that can be trusted. In the last few years, I worked with a single mom named Cindy, who has a son named Colin. My first impression of her was that she was always in crisis. Cindy had mental health issues and would frequently suffer breakdowns. She had trouble finding ways to meet her basic needs. I could tell that she was in a lot of pain, and I could tell that she needed a source of stability in her life like Childhaven. I also knew that if she could gain stability, it would also support Colin, who was struggling with his own behavioral issues. In time, I came to learn that Cindy is an incredibly resourceful woman. At one point, she ran completely out of money despite having hundreds of dollars of bills to pay. She was very frightened by this. An unexpected bill may not cause you panic, but for our families, it can mean that suddenly they don't have enough money to pay rent or buy their family's food. With Childhaven support and partnership, Cindy went to every community program in town, trying to find ways of cobbling together the amount she needed. It was tough, but she succeeded. I had never seen anything like it. I said to myself, this woman is a survivor. Cindy didn't take to me immediately. There was a lot of apprehension and mistrust. Sometimes when we'd talk, she'd become defensive or angry. I did my best to understand her and exercise patience. I tried to learn as much as I could about her and Colin, whatever she was comfortable with sharing. I'd ask questions like, what did you do last weekend? Or how is Colin doing? Trying to connect on a very basic human level. Colin, as it turns out, wasn't always doing that well. He was struggling in Childhaven's classrooms. That kid had so much energy. When Colin wanted to play with his friends, he'd get overstimulated and just bump into them. But he wasn't being aggressive. It was almost like he didn't understand his own strength. Colin's teachers at Childhaven were doing their best to support him and help him have the positive interactions with his peers. But it wasn't easy, and Colin was becoming a lot for Cindy to handle at home. Cindy would come to me at the end of her ropes, in tears, and I don't know what to do about Colin. She'd say, I'm having such a hard time with discipline, with routine, with just about everything. She began to judge herself and wonder whether she was doing something wrong as a mother. She thought, this is my fault. I'm the reason my child is not succeeding. And that brings me to the second thing I've learned while working here. That is, parenting is really hard. Parenting is extremely hard. I have to say that I didn't only learn this at Childhaven. I'm the parent of 2 wonderful children. But when I started working with Childhaven parents, I didn't have kids myself. And I have to admit, sometimes I'd think, this parenting thing is easy. All you have to do is implement a few key strategies, establish a routine, and give them lots of love, and things will go great. Boy, was I wrong. Parenting is the hardest thing there is, and it's even harder when you're in crisis. I can't imagine what it must be like to try to give your child a foundation of security when you're dealing with mental health issues or something like homelessness. That's why Childhaven also works with parents. We know that until these parents in these families achieve stability, making an impact requires working with the whole family. As I continue to work with Cindy, Colin was diagnosed with a sensory processing disorder. That was the source of a lot of his behavioral issues. By coincidence, my daughter also has a sensory processing disorder and has gone through many of the same experiences that Colin went through. And I personally felt a lot of the same things that Cindy felt. Before my daughter's diagnosis, I felt I had done something wrong as a parent. I felt responsible. Working with therapists and doctors showed me that this was not accurate. What my daughter was experiencing was nothing that I did. And actually, I was in the best possible position to give my daughter what she needs to support her. So both Cindy and myself were learning just how hard parenting can be. Because of this, we found common ground. After his diagnosis, Colin began seeing a developmental therapist, and I began to connect more deeply with our family. I began talking more about myself and my family with Cindy. I shared tips and strategies that worked with my daughter to get her to release and manage the extra energy that she has. I also shared these tips with Colin's teachers at Childhaven, who began implementing specific interventions that could better support him. Slowly, Colin's behavior began to improve, and Cindy and I were connecting almost like friends. The trust began to form. One day, I was in Cindy's home on a monthly home visit, and she began to tell me about her life. Cindy's mental health issues were a result of specific experiences, trauma that she endured. Cindy had been the victim of domestic violence many times, and as a result, she lives with post-traumatic stress disorder to this day. Trusting other people was hard for her, and trusting men was probably the most difficult thing of all. But she trusted me. Despite her trauma, we were able to build a foundation of trust. She was open and honest with me. She shared with me the challenges and triumphs that she and Colin were going through, and she let me help her. This leads me to the third thing that I've learned at Childhaven, and it's all about partnership. Working with Childhaven's families has to be a partnership. We have to meet as human beings on the same level and build trust. That trust changed Cindy's life, and it helped change her son's life too. She's in a much better place now, and Colin is getting the therapy and support he needs to thrive. He is still attending Childhaven today, and we're confident that he will succeed when he graduates and moves into kindergarten. I want to thank Childhaven's amazing families for teaching me the impact of partnership over the past 19 years. And I also want to thank you all for being here and listening to my story. Thank you.
Thanks to Aaron. That was really inspiring. If you're doing the math, he's visited clients' homes over his 19 years over 10,000 times and worked with over 1,500 families. That is amazing. Please give him another deserving round of applause.